Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's up, fellas? This is part of my show where we discuss science and technology. And I thank you guys for checking me out, exploring some of the things that I find, looking around through news stories and articles. I found this one pretty interesting, especially since we're trying to get our infrastructure together. One side seems to be on board with it. The other side seems to just want to do whatever it wants to do and just put money in the pockets of people who are not necessarily doing anything about infrastructure. But that's another story to be told at another time. So China has broken a record with its fusion reactor. The formidable reactor reached 120 million degrees Celsius for an astounding 101 seconds. So I started looking into this to see if we had our own fusion reactor. And if we were trying to develop this science, because it is an alternative to fossil fuels and the way that we produce energy now. It's a lot better than nuclear fusion, and it's a lot cleaner, and it requires less fuel. Also gives off less radioactive byproducts that need to be disposed of. The half-life of these, the byproducts that are given off from the fusion process has a duration of millions of years. So this stuff could kill people for millions of years. On the other hand, fusion reactors, what byproducts that they put off would only be radioactive for 100 years, and then they could be recycled or put back into the environment, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with regard to our efforts into trying to develop fusion reactors. Right now there's a ITR program, which stands for International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. And the reactor is a major international project to build a 500 megawatt tokamak fusion device, requiring an input of 50 megawatts, designed to prove the feasibility of fusion as a large-scale, carbon-free source of energy. Okay. So, like I said, some of the advantages of a fusion reactor is that fusion power promises to provide more energy for a given weight of fuel than any fuel-consuming energy source currently in use. The fuel is primarily deuterium. It exists abundantly in the ocean, and 1 in every 6,500 hydrogen atoms in seawater is deuterium. Although this is only 0.015%, seawater is plentiful and easy to access, implying that fusion could supply the world's energy needs for millions of years. Fusion power could be used for so-called deep space propulsion within the solar system, and for interstellar space exploration where solar energy is not available, including via antimatter fusion hybrid drives. So if you've ever watched Star Trek, deuterium was one of the fuels sources that was stored aboard the ship, the Enterprise, for the operation of its impulse engines. So this would be an extraordinary asset to any country who was able to develop it. For every let's see, okay. At present, our fusion devices produce more than 10 megawatts of fusion power. The ITER will be capable of producing 500 megawatts of fusion power, although this will be on the scale needed for a power station. There are still some technical issues to address. Okay, so how efficient would this fusion reactor be? And for 1 kilogram of fusion fuel could provide the same amount of energy as 10 million kilograms of fossil fuel. 1 gigawatt of fusion power station, a 1 gigawatt power fusion, a 1 gigawatt fusion power station will need less than 1 ton of fuel during a year's operation. So it will be giving out far more energy than it takes to even run the station. If the powers that be that have access to this station and are in control of putting power out, the energy would be so cheap that it would be an asset to mankind. Fusion reactors could be put anywhere. They're not dangerous. If they fail, they just stop operating. They won't explode. The process is based off of plasma, superheated plasma, which creates heat, and that heat is used to put out energy for the masses. If you just thought about this for a little bit, just the implications of having stations like this in place of the current fossil fuel stations would be a great asset to anyone who has it. I thought this was a very interesting article, and it shows that China's putting money into projects to free them from some of the problems that the United States and Russia and other significant powers around the world are dealing with. If they could free themselves from power problems, it could free up a lot more money for them to develop whatever they wanted to develop, whether it be weapons, new technologies, AI, whatever. But what we're seeing is the beginning of the future. I just wanted to explore this a little bit with you guys, see what you thought about this, and please like and share. Let me know what you think in the comments. We can discuss this a little bit. If you can find other information on it, please, send me some links. I love looking at things like this, and I'll try to keep up Ibuki's take on science and technology as much as I can find things. I'll try to keep it interesting for you guys, and try to keep it short. Thanks for you guys hanging out with me. And until the next time.
You are listening to Abuki Cabal, the analytical savage.
I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home. A long way from